Oh, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode, and possibly my favorite episode of Talk on the Tundra, your Green Bay Packers podcast that is a proud partner of the Euroset Podcast Network and the Blue Wire family. I am your host, Numac. And last night, we talked about the roster cutdowns, and we said, hey, maybe Micah Parsons might be a Packer. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Who knows? Who knows kind of thing. Well, guess what? Micah Parsons is a freaking Packer. And to talk about it with me is my lovely co-host, Jordan Tresky. Jordan, how are you doing, buddy?
I would like to make an apology to a couple of people.
Okay.
I apologize to you.
Yep, to me.
I apologize to John Kuhn.
Yep, me too. John Kuhn, my apologies.
I apologize to Ricky the Snoop.
Dogs, all dogs go to heaven. Jordan,
Yes.
shout out Ricky Scoops.
I apologize to the Dallas Fort Worth Breast Augmentation Society.
That is one of the funniest parts of all this. But yes, any more apologies? Keep going.
I apologize um to Cowboys fans.
I don't. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I'm not sorry to them. I'm not saying
Well,
sorry to them.
this is why I'm saying sorry to them.
They're Cowboys fans.
This is why I'm saying sorry.
I'm not. That's what you think. I'm not saying sorry to them.
Well,
Screw them.
I'm just saying it's a shame to see, much like America, someone take the reins of, America's team. He's always gambling. I bought an oil well back in the aughts. Bruh. And just, it's sad when you just can't pony up for a player like Micah Parsons
A four-time Pro
and
Bowler in the prime of his career.
and got to ship him out to little old Green
The
Bay, a
little old
team
Green Bay.
there's no owner. It's a team made up of many owners. The city,
The city. The loyal
the
fans.
citizens.
Oh, I'm so happy, man. Oh, I'm so happy. I just opened Twitter to this because I wanted to go find the stuff. The details, even though I already know them. And from Adam Schefter 3 hours ago. New Packers linebacker Micah Parsons is one of two NFL players to have at least 12 sacks in each of his first 4 seasons. Do you know who the other one is?
Yes,
It's
but
Reggie White.
yeah. We should probably start with in case you haven't heard, Micah Parsons is a Packer.
He's a Packer.
The terms of the deal, which it was not reported. It was a series of posts had to be reported in terms of like the full package, but the Packers are trading their 2026 first round pick and their 2027 first round pick, and not it's not it shouldn't be swept under the rug.
No.
Kenny Clark
And Kenny Clark.
to Dallas for Micah Parsons.
Absolutely freaking fleeced. Like I had to find the tweet that compared them, but the Khalil Mack trade
Yes,
compared
yeah.
to this is actually insane. I'll find it really quickly, but 2 firsts for a guy that's made 4 Pro Bowls in his first 4 years and has had again at least 12 sacks in his first 4 seasons is insane. It's insane. Uh, September 1st, 2018, the Bears traded for Khalil Mack. Chicago got Khalil Mack, a 2020 second round pick, a 2020 conditional 5th round pick, and then signed a 6-year, $140 million extension. Oakland got 2 firsts in 2019 and 2020, a 2020 third, and a 2019 sixth. Micah Parsons got traded to the Packers for 2 first round picks and a soon to be 30-year-old nose tackle that the Packers were probably going to cut next season anyways. And I want to put this out there right away. Thank you, Kenny Clark. Like, none of this is to disparage your time in Green Bay. You will most likely be a Packer Hall of Famer down the line sometime. I would not be surprised if that was the case. He served Green Bay well. If I'm not mistaken, he was a oft nominated Walter Payton Man of the Year for the franchise.
Yep.
Overall, fantastic human. Fantastic human. I'm going to miss him on the team. But when you can trade for Micah Parsons and you can give up only two firsts, that if everything goes well are going to be between picks 25 and 32 for 26, 27. Like it boggles my mind. They signed him to a massive deal, 4
Yes, this is the
years,
other component.
4 years. Oh, what was that? I missed the number.
Is it 188?
Yep. 4 years, 188 million.
120 million fully guaranteed, basically a 120 million dollar signing bonus
Right.
and 136 million in total guaranteed salary,
Yep.
which, as you probably suspected, if you haven't heard the news, Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer, but it is the highest. It is the highest
Non Q.
non-quarterback.
Yep. Non QB contract ever given out.
Yeah,
It's besides like the shock, like it. I think one, he deserves it. He passes Myles Garrett in that contract that he just got this past offseason to stay with the Browns, and we talked about it yesterday. But like Russ Ball will figure it out, and I think this kind of is them going all in. They're immediately Super Bowl contenders, and they have to be. And I think I have so many thoughts that they're all jumbled right now. But I think what this does initially is just shores up the edge rush so much better. Like, do you know you're not on Twitter very often? And if listener, you're not on Twitter very often either. I'm sorry, I have a lot of brain rot. There's a video of Brenda Song dancing down the hallways of, I'm pretty sure, the old like the SNL hallway, and they're all clapping around her, and she's like doing like
no, that is definitely Jennifer Hudson. I know those videos very
there's
well.
multiple, but I saw the Brenda Song
Okay,
one. There's multiple of them.
okay.
Um, and someone said this is Rashawn Gary on his way to the passer, opposite of Micah Parsons, which is 100% true. Like Micah
Yeah.
Parsons is going to draw doubles, which in turn leads Rashawn Gary to hopefully have an easier route to the passer, and like that just makes this so much better. When Rashawn Gary is your two instead of your one, I feel so much better about the edge rush. Lucas Van Ness isn't going to start his an NFL game for the rest of his career. Like he hasn't
And
started a
honestly,
game since high
that's probably
school.
the better. Yeah, it's not anything different than what he was already doing, and it's probably better off because
Right.
he's small potatoes in what's going on.
Exactly.
Let's start with the human emotion.
Oh my god, the human emotions are great, Jordan. I got my number 11 jersey on.
Yeah, there you go. I will say, as much as I am very happy, it wasn't. There wasn't like this like again, comparing it to recent examples. The Bucks are come to mind. Or
I
like
told
when
my
the
wife the same thing. It's like trading for Dame, but like 10 years younger.
yeah, like there was just a shock of like because you didn't hear about it. The difference is that we are not even 48 hours removed of like the Packers being involved in this. And really like there was no other team getting Ricky Dog Avi Snoop's level tweets or post notifications that kind of that's where it's like it's really hard to know what the market was or what other offers were out there and yada yada yada. However, this is like the Dame trade, like hopefully Oscar Robertson, even like Christian Yelich or Raleigh Finger. Like this is it
This is a watershed trade in Wisconsin sports history.
in Packers history because we were talking
We
about
talked
last
about it
night.
last night. This is the biggest trade in Packers history. Like with
Yeah,
bar none. In the moment, we talked about it last night that the Brett Favre trade in hindsight is the biggest trade in franchise history solely because it revitalized the franchise in Green Bay.
yeah.
But now it's Micah Parsons. I think possibly in both contexts, like it, like
I mean,
if it leads
very
to a
well
title, it
could.
definitely is. Like it's as big as signing Reggie White. And like every time I think about Micah Parsons coming to Green Bay, I always think about Reggie White saying, "Reggie, it's God, go to
Yeah,
Green Bay."
the
And
Mike
now,
Holmgren thing. Yeah. Well, and again, I think part of it. So now going into kind of like we've had a few hours to kind of again remind everyone that Micah
Micah
Parsons
Parsons is a
is a Green
Packer.
Bay Packer. it is also just like we talked about it with Miles Garrett. We talked about it with Max Crosby. There was another. We talked about DK Metcalf. The difference is, and Miles, don't get me wrong, Miles Garrett is a very good player. Like it is, it could be very well like a 1A, 1B scenario with where it is. The
Correct.
difference is Micah Parsons is coming out of a somewhat winning situation versus Miles Garrett is stuck on a Cleveland Browns team that is going to take years to get
Is going to be bad.
successful,
They
if at
they
all.
won't make the playoffs the rest of his contract. That is my prediction.
It is just like, again, the Packers are completely justified in what they're doing here. There's a lot of variance that we'll get into for this season and what it is beyond that. But between the talent that we're talking about here, the biggest thing that we have talked about with the Packers this offseason is how you go from good to great. And drafting Matthew Golden with how the wide receiver room is, especially going into week one with the amount of injuries. We talked about
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Reed in our last podcast. Like Christian Watson's on the like. There's just a lot of there's a lot of reasons to be like they're not sorted there. They're not fortified there. The same thing with like we've really wanted to see an improved pass rush since Rashawn Gary got his extension post injury. It's been like a 7.5 out of 10. And that might even be a little generous. Like it's not all the way there. He's not even at a Pro Bowl level output of like it's a good
Despite
pass
making the
rusher.
Pro Bowl last year. Yeah,
Yeah,
but like,
that's right.
right.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. But like, he did make a Pro
Yeah.
Bowl, but in how you think of Pro Bowlers, he wasn't exactly getting the type of pressures and getting the type of sack numbers that most of the top edge rushers do.
No. And the other part of this, there's a lot of elements here. So again, I'm probably all over the place. If we're talking about since Jordan Love, first round picks for Brian Gutekunst. Granted, it's not a lot of hindsight. It's only 5 years. They extended Devontae Wyatt. Quay Walker is going to be a free agent this offseason. Eric Stokes is on the Raiders. A lot of injuries played in the fact that they didn't offer him a second contract, as we know. Lucas Van Ness, we just touched on him. He has a lot of room to grow in terms of being one, getting a second contract in Green Bay now, but two, being like, what are you? Are you a rotational guy? Are you kind of like a 25 snaps edge rusher kind of guy? They don't like Brian Gutekunst is not like it's not like Howie Roseman or kind of like the most successful or sterling draft record at the top of the draft. If anything, their bigger successes have come deep within the draft. So
Totally agree.
I honestly think this is the biggest kind of owning up to, hey, we haven't really hit it out of the park with our first round picks beyond their first contract. You know what I mean? Like it's good to have a Rashawn Gary. It's certainly good to have a Jordan Love, but like we saw how Jair Alexander's time soured completely post second contract. There's a lot of nuance here and bigger things to glean on, but I think from that perspective, when you're talking about the future assets that the Packers are giving up, it's not nothing, but I think it's also a realization of what have we done with the last 5 years of our first round picks? Like this is our best draft capital, and it's kind of checkered. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
Like like it's there's so much nuance in how we talk about all these things that we're over the moon right now that the Packers have Micah Parsons that
Oh,
they
for
could
sure.
easily win a Super Bowl this year. But it's also like that might not work out. The same thing is with the picks. It's like
Right.
you are, as you mentioned, you're picking in the back half of the draft. You're picking in the last like 10 picks, if hopefully last 5 picks. You know what I mean? If
Right.
everything goes well. So it's like for me, I just think that is the biggest kind of realization or like honest assessment of like, if anything, Brady Gutekunst has done better when swinging for the fences,
Yep.
doing the things that are not normally associated with the Packers. It's going in free agency, and it's now trading for Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm. Like, as I mentioned earlier, if the Packers win a playoff game, like if they have a bye and they are in the divisional round, or if they win the divisional game, they'll be picking in the last four picks of the draft. Like they're in the final four. And I forget. I was just liking tweets all day long, all afternoon, because I was just like
Yeah.
I was just a big fan of everything being said on Twitter. Um, if the Packers like the combined value of picks 28 to 32 for 26 and 27 equals a top 5 pick, which is where Micah Parsons was drafted in 2021. Like you don't find Micah Parsons capable edge rushers later in the draft. Like you don't find all pros like that. And if you do, it's very, very rare. You think of like the best edge rushers, the Bosa brothers, uh,
Yep.
Micah Parsons, Aiden Hutchinson, Miles Garrett was a first overall pick. Like all of those premium edge rushers are in the first 5 picks or the first 10 picks. Like you just don't get that kind of talent. Like Rashawn Gary was what 15, 16, something like that. Like
Somewhere around there. I
in
think
the
it was like, yeah,
in the
14,
teens.
15 or something like that.
He's a good player. He's
Yeah.
not them, right? There's such
No.
a huge gap in talent from edge rushers in the top, like the cream of the
We're talking
crop
about
blue
going
chip
from like a
players.
B to, yeah, blue chip A plus or even A plus plus level players
Right.
as the athletic put in their trade grades.
Right. Like it's just it's such an insane talent gap that you just go out and get them because now what this really does for the defense, right, is it takes their front and allows them to pressure the quarterback, which then further can hide the cornerbacks a little better, right? If Micah Parsons is coming down the gap and ready to sack you, you're not going to have a lot of time to throw and have those receivers get open against Carrington Valentine, against Bo Melton or Keyshawn Nixon. It's not knocking those guys, but they're not blue chip players either. And they didn't have a difference maker in either of those spots, like to rush the passer. They just didn't. Like they had
Yeah.
Edger Cooper, and who was doing very well. They have Xavier McKinney, very good player, but you can throw away from safeties. And now they just have a dynamic, all pro level player to rush the passer, and just cause havoc. And it's just so good, Jordan. Grim, Micah Parsons is a Packer.
Yeah. I can't say anybody missed it. Micah Parsons was a Green Bay Packer. To your point, this is the biggest thing. If anything, the Packers, their biggest successes last year, whether it was like the Titans game in like week 3 or the Seattle game on that Sunday Night Football, I think it was like week 14 or 15. Their biggest games getting after the quarterback, which weren't many, came when they were more aggressive in blitzing, when they were sending numbers. That is not how they want to play, though. And that is where it's always been tough. I mean, even again, going back to Joe Barry, like the Packers have a very static defense and play straight up. Like they have the way that they want to play, and it's a matter of bending the system to the talent and the players they have available, that they have to marry those kind of principles versus like
Mm-hmm.
what you're actually doing. And so for me, I think as much as I am bullish on this defense, I was bullish on this defense going into the year, but the coverage and like what does it look like when you're not necessarily, you're still relying on these same guys that are not there. Like I liked Kingsley and Igbari. Like he's a good rotational edge rusher. If anything, he's better than Lucas Van Ness. Like if we're being completely
At
honest.
this point right now, yeah.
At this
He's
point, yeah.
he might not have the profile and the projection, but in the production, he does.
Yeah. But it is still like the results were not good enough. I know a lot of things have been thrown out about like I think the Packers rank second in terms of pass rush, whatever metric of like overall pass rush, like EPA or whatever. I should probably be more technical with my.
That's all right.
But still, it is just like we knew it was still not good enough. And if you're coming into the season, they were still susceptible to not getting guys pressuring quarterbacks, having it rely on Edgerrin Cooper and Quay Walker kind of bending
Mm-hmm.
the offensive
A
line.
lot of stunts, not a lot of pressure from the line.
Yeah, like you have to do a lot of things to get pressure from 4 or more to get this team where it is. That is not going to be a problem now.
No.
And the biggest thing, they will miss Kenny Clark. They'll certainly miss him in the run defense. They'll miss. He was an anchor. I mean, as much as we're talking about the edge room, for a long time it was Kenny Clark and whoever else was, second in line because he was so important to any kind of pressure or run support or lack thereof to basically run defense that his talent was so good that opposing offenses could just like, we're going to send bodies at him and then have the other guys make a play. And they will miss that even if he wasn't the same player as he has been
Yeah.
as he was last year.
Yep.
But Micah Parsons, you could put him anywhere,
Anywhere.
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 Even like whether it's any of the four spots on the line or have him kind of be I mean, he was originally a linebacker coming out of Penn State. I don't think we'll see it like that, but like
Well,
it,
he's played like that. Like they play him. The Cowboys played him all over. They played him in the like
yes.
over the A or B gap. They played him off the edge. They played him as a stand up linebacker. He was really doing a whole lot of stuff for the Cowboys in their defense, which I think is gonna make Jeff Hafley just beam with joy. He could kind of
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like we haven't even seen a player like that. The Packers have never
never,
had someone like that.
never, ever,
Like
ever.
Clay Matthews, like again, a really good edge rusher. The last like true great like sustained player that brought sacks and everything like that and just havoc that way. It was just he's coming off the edge and he could just either bowl through him or just run after the quarterback as fast as he can.
Right.
But now you have someone that literally is all over the line, and if I'm an opposing center, you're calling him out where he is. And that for me is like for Jeff Hafley and who's a very inventive. I mean, this if the Packers defense is at least top five, and Micah Parsons just continue like if the all tides rise or what is it, all boats
Uh,
rise on the tide,
Rising tide lifts all
whatever.
ships.
Yeah, there we go. It He's gonna be an NFL coach next year. Like there are so many things at stake of like just getting Micah Parsons that the Packers could just profit off of having someone as good as him. It might not be as high as we think it is right now, but still, it like the possibilities are endless. Where as recently as last night, I think we were both like, if they can try to be in that Super Bowl conversation, then we'd be good. Now they're in it. It's just a matter of can they prove that they can be in it for the entire year.
Exactly, exactly. And I like to put some context and some numbers around this. If I'm not mistaken, I've said this stat 1,000 times. I guess I'll look it up just to make sure I'm saying it right. But Rashawn Gary has had a season high of 9.5 sacks. Like that's his best year for sacks. That was the 2021 year. And then as he was breaking out, he had 6 sacks in 9 games of 2022, and then he had his injury and hurt his knee. Micah Parsons has had 12 sacks at least in every single season. He had 12 sacks in 13 games last year. He has went 13, 13 and a half, 14, 12. To boot with that. In 2021, he had 67 total pressures on the quarterback in 17 games. 90 the following year, 103 the year after that, and 70 last year when I said he only played 13 games. Like that is just an insane amount of pressures on the quarterback, and he converts them too. And like that's the biggest part in what they need is he's converting those pressures into sacks. And it's just I I don't have enough words to describe like how good this is for the line. I think like you said, losing Kenny Clark is going to be a difficult thing to bear. Devontae Wyatt really has to step up now. Like
Yep.
they gave him uh, his 5th year option, right? They
Yep.
gave him his 5th year option. They'll see how it goes, but they really need to figure out what they're doing there, and not to be lost amongst this. If I'm not mistaken, Jordan, was it Colby Wooden getting nose tackle snaps in the preseason? It was him or Carl Brooks. It was one of the two, but they were.
Wooden. I remember. I think both did, but I remember Wooden.
But
That was the thing.
that's not nothing here. Is that
No.
they they sign or they let Kenny Clark go in this trade, right? And then now they kind of have to figure out who's going to be that nose tackle. It's most likely going to be Devontae Wyatt, but in a case that he gets injured, like they have been practicing with these other guys, getting snaps there, which is good. Like it's they're treating the offense or the defensive line like they do the offensive line. They can kind of mix guys around. And from what we saw on Twitter, this wasn't like a surprise. I guess Micah Parsons and or the Packers and the Cowboys agreed to terms like days ago, and the last few days has been them. It has been David Mulugeta, Micah Parsons, and the Packers negotiating their extension terms. And so, with that, like, I wonder how long those terms have been agreed to, because Nazir Stackhouse making the roster kind of makes a little more sense now. Not that it didn't before, outside of like the whole Packers always keep an undrafted free agent. But if they knew they were trading Kenny Clark, it makes a whole lot of sense for them to keep Nazir Stackhouse to have depth there.
I did have that thought. I mean, part of it is that you agree to the trade, but the contract element of it was the whole reason why he got traded to begin with. You know what I mean? He was not coming to Green Bay without signing
No,
the
no,
extension that
no,
reset the market
no.
for non-quarterbacks.
Also,
So
David Mulgeta, just a shark, dude.
David Mulgeta, a shark,
He if it
represents not just Jordan Love, but Xavier
it was David
McKinney, like,
McKinney and Kings Barre.
and I think Dobbs.
I think so too. Like, if there's an agent that loves working with the Packers, it's Mulgeta. He has made so much money from the Packers between Love, McKinney, and Parsons now. That man is rich, rich.
Also, like, I mean, we talked about, I think, last night, but just to refresh people, in addition to refreshing people, that Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
Oh, it
Um,
sounds so good every time you say it.
Jerry Jones was trying to negotiate with Micah
Oh,
Parsons.
can we talk about Jerry Jones for like 20 minutes, dude? Oh,
Well,
what a big dumb idiot. What a big dumb idiot. You're 82 and 1,000 years old, and you're an old wrinkly bag of skin, and you try to violate the CBA overtly and blatantly by negotiating a contract with Michael Parsons and not his agent David Mulugeta. Blatant CBA violation, and going to yap to Steven Smith about it in an interview. Yap yap yap. I'm not dealing with agents. Just such a bad thing to do. And like, I laughed at Robert Mays when he talked about it like a few weeks ago. He's like, we're not talking about Michael Parsons. It's not happening because the Cowboys do this every single year. They did it with Dak. They did it with CeeDee. And now push came to shove, and they don't do it with arguably the best player out of those three. They just don't give the
the
contract. I
one
don't
that
get
was
it.
as we talked about when he even it was August 1st when he submitted his trade request. He is the slam dunk of them all. Like
Right.
Dak Prescott at his best inches his way into a top five quarterback
He
conversation.
needs to have
Yeah,
like a great year. Like,
yeah, like yes, context
and be
context
healthy.
matters with guys like Dak Prescott when they signed him, CeeDee Lamb. You could even say, I would say the one of the players that they signed to a massive extension in recent memory. Ezekiel Elliott was probably top
Same
three in
thing.
his profession,
Same thing.
but it was still like it's the Jerry thing of it all. Like it's just
Oh,
it
I
is
love
just
it.
so it
I
is.
love it.
I can't remember if I was talking about it on pod, but I shared with you that I started watching this Netflix
Yeah,
Cowboys
no, you. I
documentary.
think you shared with me pre-pod. And I was like, why would you do such a thing? I'm not watching that.
And it is just the juxtaposition of knowing that this is coming out. So it's basking in this like last dance level of like Cowboys nostalgia. Remember when we ran the league and the literally had bent the league to Jerry's will and all this stuff. And now it's like, you better hope that Jerry wrote his will. This is like, I know it's coming off the heels of like the Luka Doncic trade in Dallas, which has obviously been cushioned by getting Cooper Flag. But to go months after that, and all of this stem from just idiocy. Just like he felt like Micah Parsons was not going to blink, or that he was going to blink eventually when push came to shove, when the season was getting closer.
Exactly.
And he didn't blink. And it just it's rich again. It going from Cowboys to the Packers are like it's the team that everybody has a piece of versus it's one guy that he thinks he's the Cowboys. He thinks that the whole reason why the Cowboys are special is because he owns the team.
Correct.
And and I'm not saying that it's not he hasn't been successful, but it is
I
just
would
like
argue he hasn't.
he has been successful, but all the reasons why you say that he has been successful in the last 30 years is not related to football. It is related to the business of football. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is I just
I
can't
was 6 months
believe
old the last time the Cowboys made the NFC Championship game.
I was 4.
It like he sold his soul to have the '90s run, which is like the '90s were a great time for the Cowboys, but now they just they haven't done anything of significance. The Packers dog walked them 2 years ago in the playoffs when they had their best team arguably since those championship teams. They were the 1 seed or the two seed in the NFC, like 14 wins if I'm not mistaken. They just got dog walked
Yeah,
in their own stadium. The Packers have owned them for the last decade and a half when Rodgers was their dad too, and it's just like the part that doesn't make any sense to me, Jordan, is that in that same documentary you're watching, Jerry Jones is on the record saying that loss to the Packers in the playoff 2 years ago was the hardest loss that they've ever been dealt, and it was at the hands of Jordan Love of the Packers.
yeah.
Why on earth would he trade Micah Parsons to the Packers? It's an insane thing to do. Trade him to anybody else. I saw something. It's like, man, 2 firsts to trade him in conference. The Packers play the Cowboys this year.
They play in week 4. That I mean, that's part of it. Like whenever, again, in light of the Tuesday night, John Kuhn, Ricky Snoops, whatever, kind of like gossip
It's Ricky
hearsay.
Scoops, and you better respect his fucking name.
Sorry. Um,
Explicit pod. Rough.
yeah, sorry, Ty. Um, whenever it wasn't coming from an official channel until this afternoon before the trade was announced by Adam Schefter said that the Cowboys are actually have been listening to trade offers for Micah Parsons.
Bill Huber said that this morning too, from Sports
Shout out to
Illustrated.
Bill Huber. I mean,
Yeah.
there's been yeah. So and Brian Gutekunst was asked about this during post roster cut down press conference that seems like forever ago now. Um, he was asked about that on Wednesday, but it was like if you're a Cowboys fan, I saw plenty of people say, "Why would Jerry do this? Why would Jerry do this?" And it's like there, one, he obviously just did it, but it is just like these old like school rules about like you don't trade a player to the same conference as you do, or like who was it that I forget? This is also like this is in the NBA. This is in MLB. It's just like I can't remember the last like big example of it. Maybe it was like Jimmy Butler or something like
For
this. Of
what?
like
Where you trade out of the
where
conference?
you deliberately pick an offer that is the best, but it's not the best from what you'd have if you had trade them in conference.
Got it. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Actually, no. I was it Rogers?
Aaron?
Was there
No,
whatever?
it was only Jets the entire time.
I mean, that makes sense. But anyway, these old kind of like maxims of like, this is how you do business when someone asks out, you don't trade out, blah, blah. It's like, they just don't know what they're doing. This is, again, the tyranny of a one man show of like,
Oh, a
of the
one man
Cowboys.
show that's an owner and thinks he's the GM. His son is
Uh,
the GM,
yes. Yeah.
technically the GM. Jerry runs the show, and
Yeah.
he's delirious at best.
Yeah. And it's like the Cowboys, again, a team that they haven't won the Super Bowl until last year. They've been largely successful. Like they've had good regular seasons. They're drafting similar in the similar range as the Packers are. They have good scouting. They
Mm-hmm.
draft well.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes time to pay these players that pop pretty much instantly,
Yeah.
they it's that's where again you just see how things were running, and maybe Jerry Jones is not the example of all NFL owners, but he is just the epitome of NFL ownership of the last 40 years. judging by a Netflix documentary, um, and how things are changing now. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just insane. It's just insane.
Diana Rossini.
Yes. Oh, and we haven't even talked about his comments.
No, that's I'm going to right now.
Thank you.
Jerry Jones, in response to a reporter who asked a question that I don't know what it was, uh, in our judgment, this gives us a better chance to be a better team than we have been the last several years. You fucking idiot. You trade away a 4-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time first team All Pro edge rusher, a guy that's in the prime of his career, and you said, "Nah, we're gonna be better with him." With 2 first-round picks that are in the 30s, the late 20s and 30s. Like, oh my god, like I don't know how Cowboys fans do it. I have disdain for the Cowboys as much as I do the Pack or the Bears, and so it's just like I don't care, but like golly man, Diana Rossini or not Diana Rossini, Dane Brugler quote tweeted that Diana Rossini quote and said, "Even worse than Jerry saying this is Jerry believing this." Like he's 82. Take the reins away from the old man. Take him away or keep him. I don't give a shit. We have Micah Parsons is a Packer.
Yeah. It's insane. Also, I believe I saw that in the press conference, he was referring to Micah Parsons as Michael, and his son sitting next to him had to correct him saying Micah.
Dude.
So, someone call a life alert.
Dude.
Jerry just fell down. Um,
Flat on his face, man. Flat on his
I,
face.
I really am curious to see how this season goes for a lot of reasons. I was already really excited getting together our annual survey, which is kind of blown up because I'm going to have some very Micah Parsons related questions.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm really curious. It's very similar to when the Packers traded Aaron Rodgers, and we kind of have one eye on the Packers. I mean, it's hard to not have an eye on the Cowboys, considering that they're put on ESPN all the time and used as this flagship franchise, of like talking about them on First Take or whatever. But this, I really, there's gonna be a lot of hate watching or love watching with how disastrous the season can go.
Um, I gotta pull it out of the Twitter sphere. Uh Zach Cruz. Jerry Jones talking about quote stopping the run as a reason why he traded Micah Parsons is legitimately hilarious. It sure is, Zach. It sure is. Peter Bukowski quote tweeted and said, "Straight out of Nico Harrison's playbook."
Yeah,
Yeah,
defense wins championships.
yeah, the exact thing. And it's like, if you if that was the case, Jerry Jones, don't play him inside. Just let him rush the passer. It's not that hard. Oh, I'm having so much
Now,
fun. Jordan, did you know that Micah Parsons is a Packer?
I've heard Michael Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. Now, I think the most interesting element of this, and we talked about this on our uh, pod last night, but I don't think these this move happens without ed policy and the pressure to win and for Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur to open the door for another extension. I think it's the biggest. I I had been keeping my eye on how things could look differently. Of when Ed Policy has been running the show, it's been a little over a month, month and a half, so to speak, of him being essentially the number one in the Packers organization, as much as it is a community-owned franchise.
Right.
But we have seen when a changeover like that happens, it's obviously whether it's like a new owner taking over a franchise like Matt Ishbia trading for Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, or football example. I'm trying to think. There's not many ownership changes in football. That's why it's tough. The Broncos trading for Russell Wilson
Yep.
when the I forget the Bolin family. I think that's their
Yep.
name.
The Bolins, and they sold to the Waltons.
Oh, yes.
People who own Walmart.
Yeah. I guess Raiders bringing Tom Brady and being like, let's get Pete Carroll and Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Um, but that senses or like that shakeup, obviously, you don't have the same job security that you are afforded to, even when your contract goes as long as Brian Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur says. Now with that policy in charge, I it could be made clear that the Packers would still do this whether it was Mark Murphy or Ed Policy. I just don't think it's not a non-zero chance that that plays into effect of Brady Gutekunst taking the biggest home run swing he's ever taken as a GM. Like
Right.
this is we talk about the Jordan Love sized level of how that can be a legacy defining draft pick,
Right.
a legacy defining, you know, move for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like put him up against Ron Wolf, put him up against, I shouldn't say against, but put him up with Ron Wolf,
Ted
uh,
Thompson.
Ted Thompson, the things that matter.
Also,
This
sorry, keep going.
this vaults him into it's the biggest trade in Packers
Yeah.
history. It's the biggest risk that the Packers have made at all. At all. Like Reggie White, as much as that was a landmark decision, that was a free agency move. They didn't lose anything for him.
Right.
Unless there's probably compensatory picks or whatever it was.
Right.
That to me is like he could easily vault himself into perhaps the most memorable GM in Packers history because he made this move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
But again,
I'm
it
with you.
doesn't happen without some level of your days are not guaranteed if you just rest on your laurels and hope that things come together for this team because it it was still a risk that the Packers were not going to reach their ceiling. There are more questions to be answered than certainties, I should say.
Right. Right.
What
Uh,
were you going to say before?
I forgot. Oh, Ted Thompson. Uh, I remembered. I forgot it was something else. It's on the same comment I'm about to make. Uh, Ted Thompson's last first round pick is Kenny Clark,
Yeah.
and he yielded the Packers Micah Parsons. That just it's not poetic, but it's just a fun little tidbit. Uh One, forgot to say something. Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
Oh yeah,
Two,
that's right.
Jordan, are you aware that Edger Cooper's on this team?
Yeah.
And then they get to him and Micah Parsons get to play together. Do you know how awesome that is?
And you have Xavier McKinney at covering
And
like
yeah,
the entire length
the
of the field.
the entire depth of the field. Yeah, I'm just so excited to see what Jeff Halfley does with Edgerrin Cooper and Micah Parsons. I think it's going to be some cool stuff. Like you have a linebacker that was really starting to come into his own at the end of his rookie season, and has had all season to prepare, and is going to be hopefully shot out of a cannon come week one against the Lions. And now you have a guy like Micah Parsons to kind of like show him the ropes. They're not similar players, but they like there's stuff at linebacker that Micah Parsons can teach Edgerrin Cooper about like pursuit and running sideline to sideline in pursuit of like runs. Like that's something that he does well. Like, oh my God. Like it's just I'm so excited, Jordan. I'm so excited.
It's insane. Like the level of this is this is the blue chipper that the Packers needed to have. We have hoped that they have drafted someone like that. Maybe it's Matthew Golden and his as a wide receiver or just an overall player, but like they don't have outside of Xavier McKinney. I think Xavier McKinney is the closest thing to being like this guy is top three
Yeah.
in his position, if not maybe higher, and is such a he leads off the scouting report for every NFL team.
Yes.
And they have to change their game plans, their playbooks to when he's on the field. And
Mm-hmm.
he's certainly on the field a lot because what do you play like 100% of the snaps last year?
Probably something like that.
Now you have Micah Parsons who is at the line, and Edger Cooper is a good shout here because it's like he's this next up and coming guy that they've already hit. What was he, a second rounder last year, or a third rounder?
Who? Edrin Cooper, second.
Yeah, second rounder. That's already been a massive win, a massive steal in that sense. So yeah, I just think that, again, it's the defense, it's the talent level of like what this means. It's honestly even playing for the expectations that I'm really looking forward to. Like as much as I feel like as Packer fans we're conditioned to shooting for its Super Bowl bust.
Mm-hmm.
Even post Rodgers year where that was when we are kind of had a little bit lax expectations. And honestly, it was probably the most fun year that we've had as a Packer fan in
Yeah.
recent memory because they did things that we didn't expect them to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is very little margin for error,
No.
but it does feel refreshing that we're kind of ratcheting up the pressure cooker as much as that can be super stressful when you're in tight ball games.
Yeah, but I think they are now in Super Bowl or bust contention. Like
Yeah.
they are into that realm of if they don't at least make it there, it's a bad season. If they don't make it to the championship game, it's a loss of a season, right? Like you have the pieces now. We like the offense is a bit skeptic, like tenuous right now with Jaden Reed's injury, but hopefully Matthew Golden pops. Hopefully Romeo Dobbs can stay healthy this season and avoid another concussion for his own health and safety. Tucker Kraft pops. Like Jordan Love is healthy all year. Like I think if Jordan Love is healthy all year, the receivers won't matter. He will get them the ball when he needs to. But I do
Yeah.
think that like he needs to be smarter with it, and the fact that like the turnovers matter more now, right? Because you have your defense can do so much that you can just keep getting the ball back, keep getting the ball back. Don't keep turning it over back to them after a turnover. Like in theory, the Packers should win the turnover margin like most every game this season, whether it's forced fumbles or interceptions, right? Like they
Yeah.
just need to be smart with the ball. Jordan Love is capable of being smart with the ball. No more falling down throws in the end zone. No, none of that. Like outside of fumbles, like you just kind of knock on wood that those are relatively random. But knock on wood that isn't a thing that plagues the season. But like then like Josh Jacobs, if he keeps his form from last year, like this team has a chance to do something very very special for the next few years. Jordan,
Yeah. And you signed Micah Parsons to,
a 4 year extension.
I mean, I'm just thinking about it too. It's like the Falcons traded their 2022 first rounder
To get
for a
James Pierce
rookie,
Jr.
yeah, for a rookie edge rusher who had some,
Had some motor issues. Like he's not a guy who that move has been widely criticized. Like it was
yeah,
a
it's
questionable
the
thing at
equivalent
best.
of the Pelicans when they traded of like a future first and a number of picks for moving up in the draft
Right.
a couple months ago. The Packers are surrendering future assets for a three-time Defensive Player of the Year finalist,
Yeah.
and who's
And
26.
who's 26?
Like even that's the other thing. Like when we compare Reggie White to Micah Parsons, Reggie White came to Green Bay in his 30s.
Yeah.
Like he had already played in the USFL and played 8 to 9 seasons in with the Eagles. It's very possible that the Packers have not had someone as good as Micah Parsons at their age. Aaron Rodgers is, I would say,
I
probably
mean,
the best.
even then, like 26-year-old Aaron Rodgers is year two Aaron Rodgers as a starter, I think.
That's the thing. And even if I'm Brett Favre, maybe I think Brett Favre won one or two of his MVPs by the
At
time he was
26. I'm
26.
looking because that's actually like a very curious point. Uh, 2009, Aaron Rodgers was his 26 um, season. So the year that he went to the Pro Bowl and that they
Lost to Arizona.
lost to Arizona. Brett Favre in his age 26 season won his first MVP. What a pull! You're nasty.
Nasty with light as I want to be. Janet
Oh, I
Jackson.
lied. It was
Yeah.
his second. His second. No, it was his
Second
first.
MVP.
No, it was his first. I got.
Yeah, because it was 95, 96, 97.
Yeah. Also insane run.
It's insane.
It's insane.
Brett Favre was really good.
Really good.
Shame what
Shame
happened
that
to
he
him.
wants to steal from poor people.
Shame that he's a abysmal person.
Yes.
Um, in case you missed it, Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
It's
Um,
never gonna wear off, dude.
I'm trying to think of other things that I will also. I'm making this very clear. I will be at Micah Parsons' first game as a Green Bay Packer, and I was already looking forward to this Packer season.
Yeah,
It's that's gonna be pretty lit.
that's gonna be pretty
That's gonna
pretty
be
cool
pretty
for you.
lit. I cannot wait to tear through these Lions and Dan Campbell. And so what if you're an Applebee's commercial? That don't impress me much because we got Micah Parsons.
That don't impress me much.
Oh,
Shout
oh,
shout
oh, oh, oh.
shout out Shania Twain.
Yep.
Uh
Canadians finest.
that's right. Oh, I'm just so
What else are we missing here? Actually, let's talk the have there been more player reactions
uh
that have come through?
Jaden Reed was sad about Casey leaving. Kenny Clark leaving. That was all I saw. He was also like
Yeah.
happy that they got Micah Parsons, but he was also like, damn, sucks to see Kenny
Jordan
Clark
Love,
leaving.
I know Jordan Love was
Jordan Love was fire emojis. I saw Matthew Golden tweet, uh
Matthew Golden's just got here and he's like, "You guys trade for Micah Parsons?
yeah,
Is that what you do here?"
Matthew Golden tweeted yes, Laud with a cheese emoji.
Oh, that's funny.
I think EJ has a Twitter account, not if I'm not mistaken. He does nothing that he hasn't tweeted, but yeah, I don't know. Regardless, I'm just so happy. Leroy Butler said that uh, Micah Parsons was his favorite non-Packer player in the NFL last year, and now he's the second favorite Packer behind Jordan Love. Like Leroy Butler, big fan.
Yeah.
So, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so excited, Jordan. We talked the absence of Kenny Clark and the D line needing to show up. We talked about the impact of the pass rush and how it helps the secondary. We talked about how Micah Parsons is a Packer. We talked about Jeff Hafley and Edgin Cooper and the defensive scheme, Super Bowl expectations. The fact that it only took two firsts.
And actually, I think one other point to make. It's been a few years um, since Matt LaFleur has had to coach kind of a high pressure situation.
Yeah,
When the Packers, if you want to define the 2021 year as the last all in year that the Packers did, when Devontae's last year, essentially,
yeah,
we are so used to like the youth movement happening with the Packers and blending the old and the new, and then the new becoming the present. I think Matt LaFleur, like it's not a situation that he hasn't dealt with, but it will be very interesting how he kind of adapts to having even more eyeballs on the situation now that they've made the move for Micah Parsons. You mean like it? I'm not saying I'll be critical of it, but it is just it's a different makeup of how you approach this team and how you get the best out of this team when expectations are sky high now.
yeah. Yes, they are.
You know what I mean?
They are
Like
at an all-time high.
I wouldn't
Even
say all
even
time
more. I
high.
I would. I think the
You're
20
I mean
the
2020 year though.
the 2020 year or the 2021. I think like, but I think the difference is Jordan. They came off of 2019. Like I think that
Yes.
they were
Yeah.
expected to do that regardless. And like you had Aaron Rodgers, you were always a Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers, and
Yeah.
so that was just the expectation was make the playoffs, get to the Super Bowl. It wasn't the fervor and the hype and the total emotional buy-in from fans now, because like I think going into this season, I was not skeptical, but I was kind of like this season they could be really really good. Like if
Oh yeah.
everything breaks the right way, they could be really really good. If everything breaks like the bad way, and they don't get like a few calls or a couple turnovers and like injury concerns, which was already an issue, they could have went 9-8. Like I think that was a very real thing just because of the injury concerns and the necessity the team has right now to relying on guys popping like Matthew Golden, like Wicks having to improve on what he did last year, needing Tucker Kraft to be that guy, needing Edger Cooper to take a second step as a linebacker, needing Devontae Wyatt, needing Kenny Clark, all these things they needed to have happen for it to go well. Now you drop Micah Parsons in there, a real difference maker. and he can solve a lot of problems on defense, especially when they had so many problems getting home to the quarterback.
I mean, you hit on probably the biggest point that we can probably close on of all this stuff. This Packers season and this schedule with between the in division matchups, playing against the AFC North. I mean, I know they had the Browns, but nothing was like guaranteed for them to roll through their competition.
Nope,
And
not
when
even
the
a little
schedule
bit.
came out in May, we were kind of like,
You and I both were like, it's kind
if
of
everything
hard.
breaks, yeah, it's like if everything breaks right, like it could be good, but also like we know this team is not bulletproof. I mean, no NFL team is, but like last year proved that yeah, you can make a Xavier McKinney level addition. You could bring in Josh Jacobs. There were gains that they made, but they didn't win a playoff game. Jordan Love had a lost season, not lost season, but an embattled season.
Right.
Like not everything hit the optimal outcome of what it could be. You add Micah Parsons into this mix. It feels like they have a little bit more breathing room for other guys to pop. And I think the biggest thing is that we mentioned a lot of guys like Tucker Kraft or the second, third year guys that could eventually, we hope, make that next step. There are probably going to be some guys that we don't think that highly of, or we're not mentioning in this conversation that
Yeah.
might become
Difference makers.
big difference makers when it's December, January, and hopefully February.
Right. To add to Jerry Jones' idiocy, this is from Jane Slater, a reporter for NFL Network. She said she spoke with Micah Parsons tonight, and he said, "quote He's generally going to miss y'all." I'm guessing like the pool reporters in Dallas. He says he and his team went back to the Cowboys about an extension with quote empathy end quote when the trade interest was leaked this week. The Cowboys' response, according to Parsons, was quote play on the fifth year or leave. Uh, Ian Rappaport quote tweeted it and said, "Yep, the Cowboys had a chance to stop the deal and negotiate with Micah Parsons. They declined." Micah Parsons is a fucking Packer, man. Because of Jerry Jones's friggin' ego and his need to not deal with agents and to be just a giant pile of garbage. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Jordan, are you so happy?
I'm very happy.
Listener,
I'm
I
very
I
happy.
hope you're happy because I'm
This
gonna.
is a banner day.
This is a great day. What a wonderful time. All right, folks. I think we call it. I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
oozing and gushing over this trade for as long as I can. We'll come back into your podcast feeds next week with some season predictions for the team and for the NFL. Micah Parsons will be mentioned there again, almost assuredly.
A few
Um,
times.
uh, Take this one in, folks. Deep breathe in and just soak it because this doesn't happen often. And this is one of the more fun days I've had doing this podcast because Micah Parsons is a Packer. Thank you, Brian Gutekunst, for doing this trade. Thank you, Jerry Jones, for being an absolute idiot and running your team down in Dallas. Listeners, thank you for listening. And Jordan, thank you.
Thank you.